Hello everybody. I remembered to hit record today. If you're wondering what I'm talking about, last week I streamed. I was here for the hour, but I forgot to hit record. So that was largely unintelligent. But at least I can recapture the contents by preparing for my workshop tomorrow. So tomorrow I'm going to be looking at custom post types and capabilities and how those work. So to do that, I'm going to grab the plugin that I was working on and it's this one over here. I'm just going to grab this code as is. Stick it in here. So what I did last week was get the editor role and add the activate plugins and update plugins capabilities to the editor role. And I did that in an activation hook, and then I created a deactivation hook to disable those capabilities so that you can clean it up. It's great for testing and those things. And then I did another activation hook for adding custom role, and the role is assistant, and the assistant can access the dashboard and only activate and deactivate plugins. So that was the workshop last week. If you missed that workshop, you can watch the recording on WordPress TV somewhere. There it is. It's the Let's Code session from last week. So it's called Let's Code Developing WordPress User Roles and Capabilities. So that's what we worked on last week. And that's where this plugin code comes from. So today I want to look at where is the documentation I need for this? Let's open that up. Register post type. So specifically the capability section of register post type. And I want to make a note here to myself. Right, let's do this. So that's what I'm effectively working with. So register post type allows you to set up an array of capabilities for the post type, which you can then use to restrict access to your user roles based on the capability. And so he says while having a sip of coffee, the goal of the workshop is going to be to understand what the different settings do, because you've got the capabilities array. Let me scroll down here. So you've got capability type, which is the string to use to build the capabilities, the read, edit, and delete capabilities. Essentially what that does is, by default, your capabilities are all based on post, and then you can specify whether or not to create it for the custom post type. Then you've got capabilities where you actually can specify the capabilities for the post type. So I'm going to look at what that does. And then there is map meta cap, which determines which of the capabilities get defined. So the goal of the workshop will be to show everybody how this works and how it fits together and all that kind of thing. So those are the three the 3 key things. So I'm going to actually start by having all 3 of those headings as top level items, so we can go through all of them. And there's map meta cap, and that's map meta cap there. Okay. So to make this work, I'm going to need to register a custom post type. And so for the purposes of the example tomorrow, I'm going to use the Learn AMA code that I've been working on. Now, if you want to check out this code, it is in my GitHub somewhere. Let's find it quickly. Pretty sure it's public. No, it's private. Why would I make that private? What a silly boy. Let me change that. Now I gotta remember how to do this. It's down the bottom here somewhere. Yes, change visibility, change to public. Yes, I want it to be public. I actually don't know why I made this private to begin with. It might have been because... Oh, good grief. Just verify, thank you. Gotta love what password managers, folks. They make everything... Okay, that's public. They make everything hideable. So I could have done that without anybody seeing my passwords. It's great. So this is the Learn AMA plugin. This is the plugin that I was working on to use the REST API and to do all kinds of other things. And then I started diving into users, and that's where I got into the user question author role. And last week I basically figured all this out. And that stream is now lost to time, sadly. Anyway, so I'm basically going to steal this code. In the scope of my learn roles and capabilities, and then I'm going to change it slightly because I don't want it to be a question necessarily. So we'll say WP learn init, just for the scope of this. If you're using any of this code in your projects, folks, I don't recommend it because I tend to reuse stuff for example code. Make sure your prefix are unique. That's all I'm saying. Using the same prefix across multiple projects is never, or switch to object-oriented coding if you want to. I need to do a workshop on that one day. Not this week. Okay. So I'm going to make it a book because books are easy for people to think about. Most folks can think about a book as a custom post type for a store or similar. And I'm just going to leave that as that. And then that should... I feel like my background music is a bit too loud. There we go. As I get older, I find I can't think if the music is too loud. It's weird. I don't know why. Okay, so let us deactivate this plugin and then reactivate this plugin. And then there are my books. They might have been there earlier. Oh, I actually had books on this side previously. That's cool. So I don't have to create any. So I've probably created a custom post type books at some point in the past. That's fine. Okay, so there's my custom post type. Now what I want to do, I want to do two things. First of all, I want to update the admin page so that it shows the editor and the assistant. Editor, assistant. There we go. And then roles, and then we'll just do this. Oh, what am I doing? Blast. And then we'll echo, this can be editor role. All I want to do is output those in the admin page. Okay, let's check that. Okay, there we go. Role, name, capabilities, good. Role, assistant, good. That's all there. Then I've got my book. And then what I want to also be able to do is I want to have a second submenu page. So over here, I'm going to create a secondary submenu page. And I'm going to call it WP Learn Custom Post. Actually, let's call it WP Learn Book CPT. Yeah, that'll work. And it's available to admins, and the menu slug will need to change. So book CPT, and then WP Learn Render Book CPT. So these are really just going to be submenu pages that I use to randomly render things so I can display it in the workshop. And then down here, I'm going to copy this. And then I want to get the book custom post up. Now there's a way you can do this using the globals object. Just search globals there. There we go. And all my PHP friends who hate globals are probably cringing right now, but so be it. So if we say book is, wait. I mean, I could just do get post type as well if I wanted to, I suppose. I think you need a post ID for get post type, so the right way to do that is to get that. So this is the what do they call it? The object that contains all the information about the custom post type. Specifically in this case to do with capabilities. So I'm going to say book, and I'm going to simply do that. I'm going to check my debug log. There are no errors in the debug log. That's good. Okay, let's see what this does. Let's go back to the dashboard, check the debug, no errors, good. So then in tools, book CPT, there we go. Okay, so that gets the book post type. So not a book post type, but the object that defines a book custom post type. And it's got the labels and it's got various other things. And if we scroll down and we go to capability type, there's that. So you'll see. So let's just test capability type, map meta cap, and then cap. Those are the three things we need. So let's actually grab those: capability type, map meta cap, and cap. So let's update this a little bit. So we're going to say book capability type. So I want to specifically output those specific contents. Capability type, map meta cap. And the other one is cap. And the reason I'm doing this is just so that people can focus on the specific content that we want to see and not all the other stuff. Now there's an error. What have I done wrong? Oh, it's probably because it's an object, so it probably needs to be a property. Cannot use object of type as array. Yeah, I'm being silly. It's an object, and it probably doesn't use, what's the word? It doesn't extend, no, it doesn't implement the array access interface, so I can't access the properties as array items, so I probably need to do them as objects, and there we go. Okay, that's not ideal. It doesn't show. It doesn't show things. maybe what I should do is this. Let's do it this way. Let's make this an array. And then it'll show. There we go. Okay. So we map meta cap. In case you're wondering what I'm doing here, I'm just trying to make sure that it's visible on screen what these different properties of this book custom post type are, so that it's on screen and easy to read. And then what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this and put it at the bottom and just do the whole object so that folks can understand that's what it's doing. Excuse me, I just had lunch, so got a few burps there. Maybe that was too much information. Oh, why is it? No, that's not ideal. Oh, because I can't code anymore, apparently. That's basically book greater than cap. That was funny. Okay, there we go. So the capability type is a post. So you'll see it's basically inheriting the capabilities from the post type. The default map meta cap on a post type is 1, and then the default capabilities are edit, read, delete, da 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 da. And you'll see there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And if we look at register post type, and we look at map meta cap, if we look at capabilities, you'll see that it talks about the fact that there are 7 keys are accepted as part of the capabilities array. So in other words, there are 7 default capabilities, if you will. There's edit post, read post, and delete post. These are known as the 3 meta capabilities, which are then generally mapped to the corresponding primitive capabilities. So these top level capabilities will not generally be granted directly to users or roles. Then you will have edit posts, edit others posts, which just controls whether the objects of this type owned by other users can be edited, publish posts, and read private posts. So there's 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. So it says that the last 4 primitive capabilities are checked in core in various locations. Then there are also 8 other primitive capabilities which are not referenced directly in core except in this map metacap function, which takes the meta capabilities and translates them into 1 or more primitive capabilities that then must be checked against the user or role depending on the context. These additional capabilities are only used in map metacap, thus they are only assigned by default if the post type is registered with the map metacap argument set to true, which the post is set to true. So therefore it does all the others, and those others are read, which is the one that gives folks access to the dashboard. Here it says controls whether objects of this post type can be read, but actually read gives you access to the dashboard outside of custom post type. But in this instance, controls whether it can be read. And then there's delete post, private post, publish post, delete others posts, edit private posts, blah, 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 additional capabilities. So you'll see by default, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 in total that you can register. And you will notice that we said how many were there. It was 11, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. No, it's all 15. So there we go. What got confusing for me the other day was the way they're registered. So we'll go into that in a sec. But that's kind of setting all of that up. So what we're going to do now is we're going to step by step register the custom post type and define these specific arguments and see what changes. So what do I mean by that? I feel like I'm teaching this already, but I guess I am kind of. So because I haven't specified any of those 3 arguments in the custom post type, it's using the default post settings, which means all those things have been done by default. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by, first of all, just defining the capabilities argument. So if we have a look at the capabilities currently, the capability type is post, right? So let's check this. And the first step is going to be capabilities. And this takes an array of the capabilities. No, that's not what I want. I want the capability type, sorry. Starting in the wrong place. Capability type, where are we? Capability type, capability type, capability type, there we go. The string used to build the read, edit, and delete capabilities. So it's capability type I need to start with. Do I have that in that order in my notes? Yes, I do. So that's what we need to start with. Capability type. So in this instance, I can define book, and WordPress will pick up that books can be the plural version. If the word is not pluralized easily with an S, you need to define it yourself, I think. An array to allow for alternate plurals when using this argument. For example, story, stories. So WordPress won't be able to pluralize story to story, so you would have to pass that through. But for books, it'll work. So we'll just leave it as book for now, and we'll have a look at what changes. So all we've changed so far is adding the capability type. So then let us go back to this page and refresh. Okay, so there we see book is defined as the capability type. And because, notice the change here, because that's done, map meta cap is set to 0 or false. So that's the interesting first thing. So let me make a note of that. So let's start with 1, setting the capability type to book. So what happens when we do that? Map meta cap is set to false. Therefore, only the 3 primitive and 4 3 meta and 4 primitive are set. So the 3 primitive and 4 meta capabilities are set. I'll be honest with you, I wish that they hadn't referred to these as the primitive capabilities used outside of map meta cap and the primitive capabilities used within map meta cap. It would have been cool if they give it like a primary and then maybe meta and then primary and then secondary or something. Anyway, but that's how they've defined it. So it's primitive outside of map meta cap and primitive inside of map meta cap. It's probably a good idea to go and have a look at the map meta cap function now. Because all that basically does is it assigns the capability to that. It basically says here, maps a capability to the primitive capabilities required of the given user to satisfy the capability being checked. So basically it checks, for example, if the cap is remove user, then in a multi-site environment, it adds do not allow, otherwise it adds remove users. If it's add users, then it adds promote users. And then those things are used in various places. So it's just a function that sets up additional capabilities. Let's have a look at post delete page. So do not allow, for example, is set up. It does various things. And that's the only place that these things are done. And then those things are checked in different places. Okay, so with that set, let's have a look at what is created. So what has been set up is essentially this. So these capabilities, edit book, read book, delete book, edit books, edit others books, delete books, publish books, read private books, and edit books is essentially set up and assigned to all of these. So you'll notice that, for example, edit books is here twice. So edit posts and create posts uses edit books. There's delete book, which is mapped to delete posts. You've got delete books, which is mapped to delete posts. And then you can use those capabilities to restrict access to your users. So for example, you can create a role, just like we did here. We created a role. Where was it? Here, we did the assistant role. So we could now assign specifically, for example, the edit books and delete books role, for example, to that user. So let's do that. I just remembered something. I want to, before I make this change, I want to commit this code to the repository. So we're going to say 1012. Yeah, that's all fine. That's all fine. Okay. So let me log into here quickly. That's probably roles again. There we go. And let's see what branch I'm on. I'm on main. So what did we call the other one? We called the other one. This was the learn AMA. No, we don't want to change those things. Just go back to the repo. Roles and capabilities. So we called it adding roles capabilities. So let's call this checkout feature custom post types. Let's just call it custom post types. There we go. Oh, got to create the branch. Okay, so that's that there. Right, and then I want to commit these changes. Book. Yeah, so that's cool. And then I'm going to start adding other things. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to check out B custom post type capability. So I put this all in a separate branch. There, cool. So now I can make my changes. So let's go back a step. No, I'll let that go. I'll change it back to 2 now. Okay, so we set capability type book. Okay. So we set the capability type. Let's just check that. There we go. So edit books, edit others books, delete books, publish books, for example. So what we can do now is we can create a new role. So let's add the role here. So let's say add role. And we'll say this is a librarian. Because they manage the books. In case anybody missed the lame attempt at a joke there. And they're going to have some capabilities. And we're going to give them the following capabilities. We're going to give them the... let's start with edit books. Because I have a feeling we should be able to say edit books, delete books, we're not going to give them publish book. I don't want to give them publish books. Okay, the edit books they've got, that's cool. So they can create and edit. As far as I know, those I shouldn't need to give. Because according to this here, these capabilities would not generally be granted to users or roles. You should use the edit post, others publish, block, all that stuff. Okay. So that's that. Now notice what's interesting about this. Here it talks about the 8 other primitive capabilities we're not really, and then it talks about read, delete private, published, others, edit private, edit publish, create posts. And some of these that are in here are actually in this list. So I still haven't figured out yet whether the documentation is up to date or not. I need to actually dive into this. But I'll show you the differences in a second. But let's start with what it gives us. So let's give it read. Edit books and delete books is the librarian role. And then let us remove the role on deactivation. Okay, and then let's quickly deactivate this plugin to reset the roles, and then reactivate it to enable all of those roles and capabilities. I'm just going to deactivate this plugin while we're here in case there's any problems with it. Excuse me. And now I'm going to create a librarian. And if you are in any way a Terry Pratchett fan, you may or may not find that funny. My phone is ringing and I just want to check if it's anything important. No. We'll just ignore that. It's a spam call. Okay, so the email is ook@uu. I don't know what the actual thing would be. We'll make it uu.org. It's a little Terry Pratchett joke there for my Terry Pratchett fans who may or may not get it. I'm just going to call him the librarian. And we'll give him a plain password. Confirm, don't send, and we want this person to be a librarian. Okay, so let's add the user. Okay, so we've got the librarian set up. And now let's log out. Now we do have some books. Oh, books have stopped working. Is the plugin active? The plugin is active. Books have stopped working. There must be a bug somewhere. Assumed cap. Let's delete that and refresh. No. The menu's there. Why am I not seeing? It's because the admin user doesn't have access to books. That's hilarious. I never thought about that. Okay. Okay. So the admin user needs to have access as well. That's a cool little thing to stumble up against. Okay. Okay, so let's add this to the workshop. I love it. I didn't even, of course it does. I didn't know why I didn't even think of that. I think I did this the other day when I was playing with it and I realized it then and then I forgot. Okay, so then let's say adding a new user role for librarian and allowing access to read, edit books and delete books. Read books and edit books. Okay, is it read? Read, edit books, delete books. Read, edit books and delete books. Okay. So actually, let's just take this back one step. Yes, it would have done, even without the librarian role. So the minute I registered that like this, it, because the new capabilities are not set for the admin user, the admin user role, the admin user can no longer access books. So we need to give that user access to books. So if we go here, then we can say role administrator. And now this is where things are interesting. So because you have to, this is actually a good little example of something. So this is a good, it's so cool that I remembered this, stumbled across this, remind myself of this, whatever. Because of the way capabilities work, if I want to assign these capabilities to the administrator user, I have to run add cap for every single capability. So the way to get around that is to create an array, something like book capabilities, and then edit book, read book. This is not, I don't think this is correct. Let's just do that. So it should be like this. Yeah, edit book, read book, delete book, and it'll be edit books, edit others books, delete books, publish books, read private books, edit books. So we don't have to actually do that twice. So edit, read, delete, edit books, edit others books, delete books, publish books, read private books, and then edit books again, which we don't need to do twice. So there's all the capabilities that we want to set to the admin user. And then generally what you will see in the wild is something like this. And then you will see a for each loop, for each book capabilities as book capability, and then add the cap to the role. And that's generally how those things will work. So let me make a note of that. So let's do this as step 2. So we need to manually add the yeah. Did I spell something wrong? I did. And GitHub just went, yeah, that's right. GitHub Copilot. Anyway, so that's that. And then I'm just going to reuse the role git admin. I really shouldn't, but it doesn't matter. So I'll just do it like that. Okay, so now I'm going to need to deactivate and reactivate for this to take place. And this is another good reason to have activation and deactivation hooks. Check nobody's struggling to get into the live stream. Shouldn't be, because I see some of you hanging out in the chat, but I like to just check. Yeah, all good. Okay. So now they're the books. Yay! The administrator has access to books again. And these books are all owned by the administrator. So when we enable this for the librarian, we're not going to see access to these books because we're only giving the librarian, what was it? Where is it now? Do you think I can find this? There we go. Read, edit, and delete books. So let's see what happens with the librarian user. Okay, so we've got some books. So let us log out. The librarian's not going to be able to access the menu either, which is frustrating, but that's fine. Ook, password. Okay, so there are books. And you see the librarian can view my books, but can't edit them, can't delete them, can't do anything to them. The librarian can create new books, but can't access this, which I think is a... I found this the other day. What was this? Let's see if there's something in the debug log. There's a specific I wonder if the librarian just needs to be able to edit book, read book. It's one of these. Let's log out here quickly. log back in as admin, there is a specific capability that's needed, and it's a good idea to cover it. Maybe it's just edit book. Let's try that. So let's go with, let's add edit, read, and delete for the librarian. It might just be read. So we might, because I think read enables it via the REST API. So let's leave that there. Let's go back to installed plugins. Let's deactivate and reactivate the capabilities. Okay, let's log out. And let's log in as the librarian. I don't think I'm going to use this username next week. Maybe on Thursday. Maybe I will. Oh, you see, that gives access because... And that does allow that. Okay, so let's see. I'm gonna have a guess that it's probably going to be read book. So let's test that. Now you might be wondering why the librarian was able to edit the admin user's books. We'll get to that in a second. So let us deactivate and then let us reactivate. And then let's log back in as the librarian. And then let's go to books. Let's add a new book. Read doesn't do it either. Okay, let's do this. So the reason, so you might be wondering, I'll cover this in the workshop as well. You might be wondering why, when I did that, it enabled all the other things. And that's because when you enable those top level, those meta capabilities, they enable edit posts and edit others posts. You see that? So it's better to enable map metacap, let all the capabilities exist, and then define specific capabilities. Now, what I think I'm now going to do is do that. So that'll be the next step. So let's just make some notes here. Adding a new okay, so now we need to say here, allows the librarian to librarian user to see the books but not edit them in the block editor. Okay. So now we're going to need to set up the map metacap business. So before we do that, let's just log out here. Let's just check if there's any new things. Nothing new in my debug log. That's good. Let's log in as admin. And let's make a note of what's sitting in the learn book CPT capabilities. So it's all of these. Okay. I'm going to just stick these in a... Don't want VS Code open. I'm going to stick these in a comment at the bottom here. Yeah, so that's what's set up with those settings. Then, if we specify now here it says an array of the capabilities of this post type. Now you don't have to do all of this. You can just do the map metacap thing. So let's add map metacap and let's show you what that does. So let's say capability type there, map metacap true. So if I said map metacap to true, and I look at my custom post type, there you'll see now I have all the additional capabilities. Those are mapped for me. So if we compare this list to that list, there we can do things like edit, read, delete, edit books, edit others books is still available, delete, publish, read private, then the read gets added, the delete private gets added, the delete publish gets added, delete others books gets added, edit private books, edit published books, and edit books. So those all get added to it as well. So now, that still doesn't fix the, I think it's edit, and now I'm going to need to have, so let's just see here, edit, read, delete, edit books, delete books. You know what it probably is? It's probably, so let's take that out. Okay. So again, it's just edit books and delete books. Edit, read, delete. Edit posts will be edit books. Delete will be delete. Publish, read private, read. And then all these other ones, it's fine. Edit, publish, create books is edit books. Okay, so that's fine. So now with those mapped, let's do the whole, I'm logged in as admin. Let us deactivate. I don't think this is going to fix the blockade, but we'll figure that out. And then let's reactivate. Okay. And then let's log out. And log in. And let's add a new book. There we go. So now, because the meta capabilities have been mapped, the block editor starts working. And I'm pretty sure that's because the edit books capability is now, you see if we look there, there's edit books there. And there it's on edit post there. So something, I'm not quite sure what that is though. It might be because the read capability is now mapped. That's very possible. Just want to see here. I want to make sure that is definitely the reason why that works. So I'm going to comment this out. There we go. So let us close this and let's log back out. Let's log in as admin and do all the things. So let us deactivate. There we go, and then reactivate. So now that set things up again. So if we look at the Learn Book CPT, it's the shortlist, which is correct. I should probably add the book capability here. That would be handy actually. Where's that? So let's do that here. No, stop jumping around. So we said librarian role. Let's actually add that to the list. Librarian role. So if we refresh here, we've got the editor, we've got the assistant, and there's a librarian. The librarian can read, edit, and delete books. So now if we... Why is my logout not working? Something's gone wrong with my mouse. Strange. I don't know what that was. And we go back here. So now I can see books. I still can't edit someone else's books, but I can create a new book. No, I can't. And that's the way it should be. So I can't because I haven't got the meta capabilities set up. So in setting this up, I'm guessing it's probably read. If we have it, I should actually probably verify this. And you could probably specify it manually if you wanted to, using the capabilities array. I'm going to have to experiment with that a bit. I might not have enough time before tomorrow. Oh, there we go. If set to false, then the standard admiral can't edit the post types, then the edit post capability must be added. That's what it is. Probably something along those lines. So it needs edit post. Let's test that. Let's test that. Let's test that. Let's see if edit book works. Might not work because edit book is mapped, so that might work. So this is with the meta capabilities not mapped. That might work. Let's see. Now we have to activate and deactivate again. I think what I might just do is, because I can do this from WPCLI, so I can do something like this. I can no, I should do it the way I've set it up, because that's how folks are going to do it in the workshop. So stop being lazy. But actually, that's how I would do it. I would do it from WPCLI. I would deactivate and reactivate the plugin, or I would just call the function. So let's deactivate, and then let's reactivate. So now, if we have a look at our capabilities, the librarian can read, edit books, and delete books. Okay, cool. The book custom post type is there. It's got the shortlist, so it's not mapping the map metacap things. So let's try the librarian. Okay, so let's go books. You see that? So by giving it edit post, it also allows you to edit others' posts, but it doesn't allow you to actually create a post. So I'm going to have to figure out which one specifically gives you the ability to create a post, but not edit others' posts. It might be one that is in the meta caps that needs to be set. I'm going to have to go through this and check it out. It might be that I need to specifically give it edit post capability, which is another way of doing it. Or we can just map the meta cap, the meta capabilities. And in doing that, that fixes the problem. So let's verify that. So let's go back as the admin. And then let's run the deactivation activation loop. Deactivate. Activate. Okay. So now if we check the capabilities, that's still edit books and delete books. The book custom post type has the full list of capabilities. If we now log out and log in, we should see only our books, which is correct. We should be able to add a book, which we can do. So I'm going to say librarian book with some content. Let's publish that. Oh, you can't publish it. You can only submit for review because we don't have the where is it? Publish books capability. So let's add that. Edit, delete, and publish books. That's cool. Okay, so now again we've got to go through the loop, and this is why it's annoying to have to do it on deactivation, but it's kind of the only way to do it without hacking the database. As I say, usually what I would do is I would run the function from WPCLI or something like that. But that's out of scope for this project, or this workshop at least. So that's that done. So let's have a look. Learn capabilities. Read, edit books, delete books, publish books. Good. This is no, go back. I don't want to be here. I want to be here. That's still the full list. Good. Let's log out. Let's log back in as the librarian. Let's create a new book. So now if we say librarian book, now we should be able to publish it. Yes, we can publish it because we've allowed publish. Let's go back. And now you can't edit the librarian book. That's interesting. So you can add, but you can't edit. I wonder if we need to edit others' books now as well. Interesting, I can't edit my books. I probably need edit book for that. This is fun. It's a good example of how you can define things. I just want to see, what did I do for the Learn AMA one? I gave it read, edit question, and edit questions. That's all I gave it. So edit and edit book and edit books. So let's leave it as that. Yeah, so then that is what it was. It was edit book, edit books. And then what I should do is then say edit others books as false. Edit others books. So you have to actually specify that, I think, so that it doesn't give access to that. I mean, would you give a librarian that kind of access? Not really, but it's good for the example. So let's go back here. Let's log out. And then let's rerun the deactivation activation loop to reset everything. Okay, so let's have a look at what we've got here. The book custom post type has all the capabilities set. Capabilities set on, the librarian can read, edit book, edit books, delete books, publish books, and edit others books. Edit others books should be false. Oh. I said it's true. Blast. Now I'm going to have to run this loop again. Oh well, at least I'm still logged in as the admin user. Okay, let's check that. No, not that one, that one. Okay, so I can read, edit book, edit books, delete books, publish books, and can't edit others books. So let's see what that does. I'm learning quite a bit about WordPressy things today. My mouse has suddenly gone all weird. I don't know why it does that. I don't want to be logged in as admin. Okay, so let's see what I can do with books now. Still can't edit my books. Oh, you know what it probably is? Edit publish books. That's what it is. That's what I need. Okay, let's run the loop. Okay. Okay. Okay, there we go. So let's just verify. So the I wonder if I still need this. I don't think I do. Not with the metacap set. So let's run the loop again. Just to check that. I want to get to the final set, which gives the librarian access to a set of books. Maybe I'll change the user to something else because librarian would be able to do all the books. So I'll have to figure that one out. Maybe we'll call them an author or something. So deactivate and then reactivate. And then let's check the capabilities. Read, edit books, delete books, publish books, and edit publish books. Yeah, maybe even delete publish books at some point. So let's log out as admin. And then let's say the librarian. Okay, so the librarian cannot read those, but can access those and can edit that and can update that. Yes, but can't delete it because of what we've set. Okay. So my librarian example was probably not a good thing, so I'm probably going to have to remove that. But that's essentially what I wanted to see. So it has the read access, which I can do because I've mapped the meta cap. That'll allow me to edit things and create things. And then it's edit books, delete books, publish books, and edit publish books. I probably should also give it delete publish books capabilities. This is probably, let's actually have a look at I'm running a bit over time here. If we have a look at the editor capabilities, or the author capabilities, should I say, it's probably very similar. If we look at an author capability, author can delete post, delete publish post, edit publish post. There we go. Publish posts, read, and upload files. So maybe that's a better example. So we will build the author capabilities for our books as if the author role didn't exist. And then we'll go through those steps and how we got there. Okay. So that's a good way of looking at it. So we're going to say for a writer, read, edit books. Initially, I think it was delete books. Allows the writer to see the books but not edit them in the editor. And then we will say adding map meta cap to true on the custom post type. And then setting and then we can kind of work through that list, but I want to keep that list, that final list handy. For our purposes. These two. Read. Read. Edit books. Edit books. Delete books. Publish books. And edit publish books. And probably delete publish books as well. Edit publish post, delete publish, yeah, delete publish books. So that'll give the writer access to create their own books, edit them, view them, delete them, publish them, unpublish them, whatever the case may be. So that's a better example, and we can kind of go through that step by step and how we get there. I'll talk about how we can define specific roles and capabilities on the per role level. So I think that's a good place to stop. I'm going to comment there like that. I'm going to have to redo this again tomorrow to remind myself how all this worked. But I think that's a good place to end there. So we'll essentially be recreating the author role, if you will. I should make these a bit more indented. There we go. And yeah, I think that is a cool place to end where we are there. So now I'm going to take out this. I'm also possibly going to mention how you can specify the array of capabilities. But we can talk about how that's set by default and the different ways that you can do things. I think the map metacap way is sort of easier, but I'll maybe look at some more examples of that. Maybe I'll maybe I'll see how we can define these manually. Yeah, let's make a note of that. Find the above capabilities using the capabilities array. So I'll include that in the workshop. I think that's a decent set of content there. We might even go over 2 workshops. I don't know, we'll see how it goes. But I'm going to experiment with that a little bit after this. But yes, I think that is a good place to stop now. I'm happy with what we've covered today. I'm going to have to clean up this code a little bit because I need to make this a writer role instead of a librarian role. So we'll just call them a writer. It should be author, but you know, author already exists. But I think that works. I need to probably do something here somewhere. Yeah, this one. But I'm going to have to activate and deactivate that. But this is a good place to start. Okay, I think that's me for today. I'm going to just run that activation and deactivation cycle again. And now my librarian user is probably not going to have oh, the role is still there. Oh, because I didn't remove it. That's why. All right, well, that's fine. Let's update that user. And then let us... I'll just clean that up myself later. Okay, I think that's me for today. Thanks, folks, for joining me. Hope you found this interesting. If you want to see the better, more prepared version of this, join me tomorrow at about 2 p.m. UTC, where I will have this prepared as a workshop, and we'll go through this step by step, and I won't be stumbling over my words. But I will see you then.